Some boxers win championships, but then there are those who they shape the very spirit of a nation with just their bare hands. We're going to talk about the man who did both. This is the incredible story of Joe Louis.
Okay, so picture this. It's the middle of the Great Depression, right? And there's this young guy, originally from Alabama, now living up in Detroit. He's walking down the street and he's got a violin case with him. His mom, she thinks he's off to his music lesson. But what's really inside that case is something else entirely.
So, what gives? Why are there boxing gloves in his violin case? That one question, believe it or not, kicks off one of the most amazing stories in all of sports history. It's all about a secret passion that was about to take the whole world by storm. It really does all start with that secret. We're talking about this quiet kid, Joseph Louis Barrow, who literally had to invent a whole new identity just so he could get a shot in the ring. I mean, think about the commitment here. He wasn't just, sneaking out. He was carefully hiding his gloves in that violin case, training at a local gym completely off the grid. And the real genius move? He dropped his last name, Barrow, and just became Joe Louis. All of this just so his mom wouldn't find out what he was up to. But as you can imagine, a secret this big, with this much raw power behind it, well, it wasn't going to stay a secret for long. The boxing world found out about Joe Louis, and fast. And they gave him a nickname that just perfectly captured his almost superhuman strength, the Brown Bomber. His punches, man, they didn't just land, they echoed. And by 1937, all that echoing power had launched him straight to the top. He becomes the world heavyweight champion. Now, for most athletes, that's it, right? That's the peak of your career. But for Joe Louis, this was just the warm-up for his most important fight ever. Yeah, this next part of the story, it's about way, way more than just boxing. We're talking about his 1938 rematch with the German fighter Max Schmeling. And this wasn't just a match. It was billed as a battle for the entire world. Just look at the stakes here. In one corner, you've got Joe Louis standing for American democracy. And in the other, Max Schmeling, who, fairly or unfairly, was seen as the poster boy for Nazi ideology. The world was teetering on the edge of war. So no, this wasn't just some sports rivalry. This was a full-blown global showdown. And believe me, the pressure was not just symbolic. It came from the absolute top. President Franklin D. Roosevelt himself met with Louis at the White House and basically put the weight of the entire nation on his shoulders. Can you even imagine hearing that? So the bell rings in Yankee Stadium, the whole world is holding its breath. And then, bam, it's over, just like that. Louis just unleashes this absolute storm of punches, a blitzkrieg, as one source called it. 2 minutes and 4 seconds, that's all it took. A completely decisive, absolutely stunning win. After that win, Joe Louis wasn't just a champion anymore. He became this incredible, unifying hero for America at a time when the country was just so divided. His next fight, it was for his country, but this time, it was outside the ropes. And this quote from him, wow, it just tells you everything about his character. As a black man in a segregated America, Louis knew better than anyone about the country's problems. And yet he comes out with this incredibly profound statement. It's this complex, clear-eyed, and just deeply powerful patriotism. And you know what? He didn't just talk the talk, he backed it up. He actually enlisted in the U.S. Army during World War II. He traveled thousands of miles. We're talking over 35,000 miles, or more than 56,000 kilometers, putting on boxing exhibitions for the troops. And he didn't just show up either. He donated his own prize money to military relief funds. He put his time, his money, everything on the line. And let's not forget the pure athletic dominance that made all of this even possible. I mean, just look at this career. He was crowned champion in 37, he held that heavyweight title for nearly 12 years, and he defended it a record-breaking 25 times. That is a reign of truly historic proportions. Maybe the most incredible part of this entire story is what happened long after the roar of the crowd died down. It's a final chapter that centers on his greatest rival, Max Schmeling. Their fights were, well, they were career-defining. Truly epic stuff. They grabbed the attention of the entire planet. It was legendary, a rivalry just packed with political tension and so much personal history. But here's the thing, the story doesn't stop when the fighting does. Because that career-defining rivalry, well, it became a life-defining friendship. And that's the unbelievable twist here. These two men, who were once set up as symbols for warring ideologies, they ended up forming this incredibly deep and lasting friendship. And this just shows you how deep that bond went. In his later years, when Joe Louis was really struggling with money and his health, it was Max Schmeling, his old rival, who stepped in to support him, both financially and personally. What a powerful testament to the respect they built in the heat of that fierce competition. So, it all comes back to this one big idea. Joe Louis started out as a kid hiding boxing gloves in a violin case, just so he could chase a dream. He ended up carrying the hopes of an entire nation on his shoulders. His life really makes you wonder, when does an athlete become more than a champion?